A long time ago, I took Quiz Bowl in 4-H, and in Quiz Bowl, you answer all these questions, and one of the questions was, what's the most important joint in the horse? And I thought I knew everything because I was 12. Here comes Tully. There's Howdy. Tully is touching the pivot. Tully, get away from the pivot. Shoo, get, go. So one of the questions was, what's the most important joint in the horse? And I thought I knew everything, so I said, well, the pastern, or the fetlock. It has to be the fetlock because the fetlock is the one that's closest to the ground. It's supporting the whole horse. That's got to be it. You are just mystified, aren't you? But it turns out the most important joint in the horse is the hock. So this is the hock down here in case you don't know. So when a horse moves, it's most obvious at canter, and I'll show you a little video of that. But the horse is really doing a throwing and catching motion. So they're throwing their body from their hock. They load that joint, and then they throw their whole body forward, and they catch it on their front end. They're throwing and catching. It's less obvious at the walk and the trot, but that is what they're doing. Esprit, you are definitely just striking a pose for no good reason, and now you're walking between me and the camera. Oh, my neighbor's taking her horse for a ride. Hey, Zoe. So, this circuit of energy, they're all leaving now. The circuit of energy starts with the hock, and then it goes up the horse's hindquarters, where the biggest muscles in their body do all the energy to move them. So, if you look at a horse, you'll see that the biggest muscles are on their hind end, right? So that's where they're throwing with their big butt muscles across their top line, over their neck, down to their muzzle, right? And their hind end muscles are pushing their legs forward, and they throw their whole body, and then they catch it with their front legs, okay? So you can think about it too when a horse is jumping. They do exactly those things, right? They come to the base of the jump, and they put their feet right underneath themselves. And a smart rider just sits still right over the center of the horse and lets the horse push them up out of the tack and push themselves, the horse, over the fence. Then when they land, they catch themselves on the front end. So the circuit of energy, that's a very big, obvious example of the circuit of energy. But the circuit of energy in general goes from the hock to the hindquarters, across the top line, down to the bit, if the horse is being ridden, back through the reins to the rider, through the rider's body, and back to their leg. So that's the circuit of energy. But a horse just by himself is just throwing and catching. So they throw from their hind end, they catch with their front end, and that's their circuit of energy. It always goes back to front. And that's why we need to ride horses back to front. But most of us, because we're used to using our little fingers to drive the car and to type on a computer, right? We want to use our hands. So then we're riding front to back. And that's not ideal. Right, Esprit? Yeah, Esprit says that's a no. That's a no. So you want to ride from the back to the front, which means you use your leg first, again, between me and the camera. We've talked about this. There's Howdy. Don't knock over the camera, gentlemen. So horses are throwing and catching. Riders, if they're really, really smart, are going to want to sit right in the middle of the horse. And Esprit has shown up to show us exactly where that middle is. So the middle of the horse is really right about there, okay? So you want your center of gravity to be right over their center of gravity as well. If you could balance a horse, their balance point would be like right here. They have this much in front and that much in back. So you want to sit right here, which is why saddles are made the way they are made. And you want to sit quietly in that spot. And you want to put yourself in the center of the circuit of energy from the hock across the top line to the neck. You want to put yourself in the center of that and become part of that circuit of energy. Okay? So I just want to introduce that today. We're going to build on that a lot coming up. But the circuit of energy is a super handy thing to understand, and Esprit approves as well. Thanks for joining us today. Like and subscribe if you want to, and cheers. Right? Yeah, that's right. That's very much right. Don't eat my sunglasses.